I just set up these studio monitors about a week ago. They almost gave me a panic attack, and I was completely sick to my stomach. But let me tell you why that's a good thing. If you've seen any amount of my videos before, you will know that I've had Focal Twin 6s on my desk for a long time. Absolutely love those monitors. I've mixed on tons of different monitors from varying price points all the way up to astonishingly expensive and everywhere in between. When I switched to the 8Cs in my own room, I almost had a panic attack. I sat there listening to mixes that I'd been working on, and I was absolutely horrified. They were laid to bear in a way that I was not prepared for. These are things that I'm proud of, and hearing them in this context, I'd heard things that were just so easy to pick out on these monitors. EQ issues, compression issues, stereo placement, things that were just not translating very well. I mean, the top end was laid to bear on these. The transient is so easy to hear. Compressor settings, I was able to get in and adjust a mix in a couple of minutes, and then I took it out to the car because having switched everything in here, I'm a little out of my element. The car, that's my consistent place right now. Taking that to the car, it sounded like a record. Not that it didn't before, it's just a whole other level of translation and getting exactly what I want really, really quick. Having mixed on these for now a while, I'm noticing that they're not nearly as ear fatiguing as some of the monitors that I've used in here before. I can mix on these for a long time at a comparable level to what I'm used to, and I can still mix effectively. I was genuinely panicking that these were telling me something about my talents that I hadn't known before. I'm a big proponent of get your monitoring right. Spend as much as you possibly can on the monitoring side of things, get your room right, because if you can't hear what you're doing, nothing else matters. And frankly, I thought I had that solved. Getting these in here was awesome, but I honestly did not think it would change things as much as it has for me. And I've been sitting with these now for a couple weeks. I've done a fair bit of mixes on them. I've tracked on them numerous times at this point, and tracking, my world has completely changed. I can get tones so fast. I mean, if for nothing else, like being able to effectively hear the EQ of something, and even saying that sounds weird as it's coming out of my mouth, because obviously you can hear that in any monitor. I can't quite wrap my head around what's happening with these, but they are so vividly honest and so transparent that I feel like I'm not listening to the speaker at all. I'm listening to the source. And if I'm tracking, I hear exactly where that microphone is in relation to the source. Those minuscule, tiny little changes or moves, it's so easy. It sped up my workflow exponentially. One of the other crazy things about these is being able to hear compression settings in a way I've never heard it before. I mean, obviously we can understand attack and release and what that in theory would do to a sound. I don't know if it's because the transient is just so obvious in these and that they react so fast to what's happening that I can dial in compression settings and using that to fix issues. I'm not saying like to color something with compression, but to fix issues is so simple. And being able to take it out of this room and I get exactly what I thought I had in this space. I'm no longer using SonarWorks. I'm no longer using anything like that. These speakers take care of all of that for me. I've barely scratched the surface of what these things can do from like an onboard DSP situation here, but so far in my room now for a few weeks, and I have used these speakers for almost a year at this point in a broadcast space that I work in multiple weeks out of a month. So I've used these speakers for a long time now in 2 different spaces. And each time, it has made my job easier. And if there's ever something about gear that will get me to get behind it, is it making my job easier? Now, if you go look these up, these are not cheap monitors. Some of you guys remember Warren David that I had here and interviewed him a few weeks ago on the channel. He's a US dealer for these. If you are at all interested in speakers like this, talk to Warren. I will put a link down in the description below. You can tell him that I sent you, and he will get you the deal of all deals forever and ever. I'm in. I don't even think I'm allowed to say what that is compared to if you were going to go buy them brand new. Just go talk to Warren. Link in the description. Obviously, this is not for somebody who's looking for a super affordable option, but in the world of professional level monitors, these aren't a crazy ask. For me right now, trying these in my room, it's making things faster, it's making things easier, it's making things more consistent, and it's making things more repeatable, which as an engineer, I appreciate. From a mastering standpoint, I'm getting the job done so fast. I don't even know if I want to say this because it'll almost seem like I'm blowing total smoke, but I haven't had a master come back with a revision since I've been using these, and I think I've done 12 songs in the amount of times that I've had these. By the way, if you're ever interested in mixing or mastering, hit me up in the description down below. I know studio monitors are not the sexiest thing that we can be talking about in a recording studio environment, but if there's one piece of gear that can affect every other piece of gear that you have, even if it's all the way down to a $99 microphone, an SM57, and where you place that, if buying your last pair of monitors that you will ever purchase, knowing that every time you place that $99 microphone on a snare, on a guitar cab, putting a condenser up in a room, EQing that snare, setting that compressor, mastering a song, if every time you know that you're going to be able to trust it that much more and hear it that much quicker and be able to work that much longer because you're not fatigued as easily, pretty quickly you see how these things end up paying for themselves. And just to be clear, the cost of these was pretty darn close to the cost of the monitors that I pulled off to put these up. No shade towards the Focals, I still have mine, they're in my office. But these are a whole different world. For me, these are solving problems that I didn't know that I had, and ultimately I'm a better engineer for. Anyway guys, sometimes getting sick to your stomach is a good thing in the end. I'm Resident Loser Jeremy. I'll see you in the next one.